maybe there's never been anything more impressive in all of human history than what's happening now that you don't even notice because it's so natural. You simply have evolved into it. Your brain is now tapped into the collective. Now, you might have to be on Twitter or watching television or on the phone or something for that to be active at the moment, but we're all connected right now. And we have focused not a bunch of little individual people with individual brains, but we're forming a God brain. Now, I'm not saying we're going to be a religion or competing with your actual God if you prefer. I'm saying that, in effect, we have now summed up. We are, for the first time, a cumulative brain focused on one problem, one global problem. At the moment, we are not one yet. We're not. But we're forming it fast. Anything that we learn about the coronavirus in Tennessee is going to be in Wuhan in 60 seconds. Well, as soon as it takes somebody to type it. The smartest people in the world are no longer on the sidelines. And by the way, Naval says this, if you were to take bets on the coronavirus, think about the odds. Would you ever bet against human beings in a war against any other living object on Earth? Well, probably not, because human beings have essentially conquered 100% of the species, except for this one. And we're going hard at this one, too. So if you were going to bet against humans in the field of battle of Earth, well, don't bet against humans. We're pretty good at this stuff. You should certainly treat this like it's a deadly disease. You should all take completely seriously the CDC's warnings. You should do what they say. But there is some possibility that this will be far less of a problem in the end than we thought. And in fact, that's, if I had to bet on it, I'd bet on it. Now, I'm betting that it's going to be less of a problem than we think, not because of the virus itself being less of a problem. What I think is that when you focus the entire world on a problem, well, let me back up. I'm going to take a second simultaneous sip because I just woke up and I really need it. Please join me. That one without the introduction. So, I want to give you the good news. And it's, of course, awkward to give good news in the heart of a crisis. But there is something good happening. And it has to do with where the world's at in 2020 compared to, let's say, the Spanish flu. Spanish flu happened when the world was not that connected. We didn't have internet and our medical facilities were primitive, etc. And we're seeing something really different happening here. And here's the way I would describe it. Have you noticed that because we're all connected and talking about this coronavirus, that I believe this is the first time we've ever had a planetary threat that everybody agreed was a planetary threat, and it's here right now. Can anybody fact check me on that? Now, you're going to say, oh, World War II was a planetary threat. Well, not really. I mean, it affected, I don't know, half the world or whatever directly, and all of it indirectly. But it's a kind of a different situation, right? But we did see the world pull together to defeat Nazi Germany and the Japanese ambitions at the time. But we've never seen it like this. We've never seen where the citizens are all connected. I'm connected to you right now. So my thoughts are going into you. You can watch in real time as your thoughts are merging into me. And I've said this about Twitter and social media in general. We have formed a God brain because the brains of the United States are no longer what they were in 1918 during the Spanish flu. In 1918, it was a whole bunch of individual brains. Here's a scientist doing what a scientist does. Maybe he can talk to some other scientists by the telegraph. I don't know. Did they have the telephone in 1918? I don't know my history well enough. When did everybody commonly have telephones? It wasn't 1918, right? So what were they doing? Telegraph? Write a letter to the other scientists to, to coordinate? So what we have now is wholly, completely, entirely different than anything we've ever seen before. We've never been this connected, and we've never had a global threat that was immediate like this one. And you're just watching the entire civilization, 15 billion years of evolution coming together, where as one, the citizens of Earth have decided that on this question, we're all on the same side. Never happened before. Even global warming is just a controversy, but there's not really a controversy about this thing. We're all on the same side. We have a mortal threat. We'll probably lose millions, worldwide. It's going to change civilization. We don't know how yet, but it's coming. And you and I are completely connected right now. I'm not separate from you. We are mentally, psychologically, absolutely connected. That's not happened before. And one of the things that does is it allows what I call the God brain to be activated. And you're seeing it right now. You're seeing a new form of intelligence emerging while you watch. Maybe there's never been anything more impressive in all of human history than what's happening now that you don't even notice, because it's so natural. You simply have evolved into it. Your brain is now tapped into the collective. Now, you might have to be on Twitter or watching television or on the phone or something for that to be active at the moment, but we're all connected right now. And we have focused not a bunch of little individual people with individual brains, but we're forming a God brain. Now, I'm not saying we're going to be a religion or competing with your actual God if you prefer. I'm saying that, in effect, we have now summed up. We are, for the first time, a cumulative brain focused on one problem, one global problem. At the moment, we are not one yet. We're not. But we're forming it fast. Anything that we learn about the coronavirus in Tennessee is going to be in Wuhan in 60 seconds. Well, as soon as it takes somebody to type it. The smartest people in the world are no longer on the sidelines. In 1918, do you think the very smartest, very best people were all working on something to do with the flu? No. First of all, they didn't have any tools. It was more of a primitive time. And secondly, you couldn't even find the smartest people. You couldn't find them. I turn on Twitter and I see a message from Balaji Srinivasan. Now, if you don't know Balaji, just think one of the smartest people in the entire frickin' planet Earth, literally. And then I go down, there's some messages about the coronavirus, some advice from Naval Ravikant. Again, I literally speak of Naval as the smartest person I've ever met. True. And you go down the list, and you're watching all of the smartest people in the world jump in. And they didn't used to be able to do that. Because if you were the smartest person in the world, here I'm just speaking hyperbolically, but if you were super smart and you could be super useful in 1918, what could you do? You could do nothing. You couldn't do a single thing. But now you can. And people are jumping in. People are volunteering. People are going into the fight. People aren't running away. People are going right at this thing. And a lot of them. And people are doing what you see me doing, essentially. I mean, what I did, you watched it in real time. You saw me look at this, feel part of it. I'm threatened personally, but all of you are as well. And you can watch as I try to figure out how to be productive. Now, I think the best way that I can be productive is to be part of the God brain and to bring you voices like Naval, to retweet useful things, threads and such, to inform you, to to keep your spirits up. I've actually thought that one of the most useful things that I could do. Naval went to your high school. I'll bet you've got some good stories. I'd like to hear those. Um, so one of the things that I think I can do is simply help people to know what to do if there wasn't anything you knew to do. Now, most people have already gotten the hint that they should bring in some supplies, etc. I really think you're not going to need them. I don't think anybody's going to go hungry. I don't think the power is going to go off. I don't think the electricity is going to go off. I think that all that stuff would be fine. And it has to do with the fact that 80% of us will always be healthy at any time. And 80% of us can do 100% of the work. If you've ever seen any big company, 20% of the people can stay home on any given day and it doesn't make any difference. 80% is fine. And we'll always have 80%. So things will keep running. The economy will just take a hit for a while. So you'll be fine. But what I recommend is that you take advantage of this disaster. You've heard the saying, never let a good disaster or a good crisis go to waste. This is one of those times. So yesterday I was taking my long walk in the sun, which I recommend to all of you. I believe that all of you should be doing the small things you can do to stay as healthy and to keep your immune system just, as good as it can get. So one of those is light exercise as opposed to heavy exercise. At the moment, light exercise should be your goal, not building muscles. You want light exercise to stay at maximum fitness in case your body is attacked. We need you. You are all soldiers in this war against this invader. And by the way, Naval says this, if you were to take bets on the coronavirus, think about the odds. Would you ever bet against human beings in a war against any other living object on Earth? Well, probably not, because human beings have essentially conquered 100% of the species, except for this one. And we're going hard at this one, too. So if you were going to bet against humans in the field of battle of Earth, well, don't bet against humans. We're pretty good at this stuff. And secondly, you'd also have to bet against the United States. Who has ever won money betting against the United States? Well, that's a tough bet. I suppose anything can happen. But if you think there's going to be a meltdown of society, in a kind that really could get to you, I don't know. We're pretty good at this stuff. So anyway, my point is stay healthy, take a walk. And I felt yesterday healthier than I've felt in a long time because I'm serious about getting enough sleep, getting light exercise, eating right, doing everything I can to lower my stress, which hopefully I can be part of that for you. So there you go. What about alien life forms? Well, maybe viruses are from another planet. Did you know viruses are not alive? Doesn't that just blow your mind? That a virus is, correct me if I'm wrong, I think I'm right on that, right? I don't think a virus is a living thing. You just can't stop it from spreading.